Welcome to Changing the Game, where bold leaders, rule breakers, and trailblazers drop the playbook and share how they lead, win, and shake things up. All right, welcome to the show. My name is Jordan Duran. Today I am joined by Jaelyn Arndt. Jaelyn is most importantly one of my best friends, but she is the storyteller for the NCAA as the Associate Director of Communications for Social Media. She's covered some of collegiate sports' biggest events and even traveled to Paris last summer to cover the 2024 Summer Olympics. Before her time with the NCAA, she played volleyball at Augsburg University and coached volleyball at Augustana University. And overall, she's just one of the most genuine and kind people I know. So I'm so excited to have this conversation with her today. Welcome, Jaelyn.
Thanks, Jordan. That was the best intro ever.
I had to do right by my girl. I got to give you a great intro. People listening, they don't know what's coming. This is going to be a great episode. I'm so excited. This is just going to be so much fun.
So pumped. It just feels so natural always talking to you, catching up. Love watching your career. So I'm honored to be back for round two.
Thank you. Yes, for everyone listening, Jaelyn was on the LinkedIn Live series before this officially became a podcast last summer when she just returned from the Olympics. So if you guys want to go a little bit deeper on Jaelyn's background, you can still find that on YouTube. So go ahead and look that up there. But excited to, continue the conversation here and just catch up with you as well.
Love it. Let's get into it.
Yeah. Okay. So you've covered some really cool events. You've been to amazing places. I just got asked right off the bat, what has been your favorite event that you've covered or attended through the NCAA?
I mean, I feel like I have to say the Olympic Games. That one was just once in a lifetime. Being in Paris for 24 days, covering our athletes that were there, working with Team USA. It was such an unreal moment. Like, I just never thought my career would take me there. And honestly, it was some of the coolest storytelling that I ever got to be a part of because sport was really rooted in everyone's journey to the games. And a lot of the times it maybe changed their life. It got them on track to a more positive route and made them more disciplined in the sport and outside of the sport. But then also hearing how sport connects people on an international level was like insane to me. And obviously at the NCAA, we have international athletes come to the States to play, but ultimately they come to get a degree and have an experience that they maybe couldn't have back home. So then it was awesome to see them back in Paris representing their home country. I mean, it was just an unreal experience. And now we are working to cover the Winter Games and then LA 28. So we are already looking ahead and I can't wait to see what we got in store.
Oh my God, that's so awesome. Wait, you have to tell me, where are the Winter Games?
In Italy.
Italy. Sorry, are you going to go?
It's still up in the air. We don't know who's going or if we're going to go, but we're definitely covering and we'll work it either remotely or we'll have people on site. We don't have as many NCAA athletes in the Winter Games, but a lot of the time, the winter sports, they maybe played like track and field in college, but now they're a bobsledder or something like that. So they don't necessarily play the collegiate sport in the Winter Games, which is also a very unique story. Like, how did you switch, you know?
That is so true. That's actually a great call out. I mean, I coached at Northern Lights when we were coaching volleyball together. Jenna Widener, I think, was one of the athletes from Northern Lights who was on or training for USA bobsled, right?
Yeah. Like it's so just crazy. Insane. Like, how did you like change from volleyball to that? So, I mean, I'm very interested to hear everyone's story. And like, I mean, I always remember watching like the ice skating, the snowboarding, the skiing, like those were like epic.
Yeah. If I could do a different sport, I think I would love to be like an Olympic snowboarder. I think I'm too tall for that, but it would be so sick.
Yes. I mean, the aesthetic and the Instagram, I can already see it.
Yes. Thank you. So, Jaelyn, from those amazing stories that you got to cover in Paris, I want to know, what was one of those moments where you were either just like, wow, I can't believe I get to tell this story, or just one of those moments where you had to step back and just be like, wow, this is really incredible.
Oh, gosh, that's tough.
I'll put you on the spot with that one.
There were so many good ones. I would say one that I obviously appreciated the most, I'll say two. I was able to do a lot of coverage on the USA men's volleyball team, which obviously is close to me because I love volleyball. But we don't have a ton of coverage on the men's volleyball team, our men's volleyball championship. Like we don't have an active account like all year round. So
Okay.
just hearing their stories and being able like literally 100% of that team was former collegiate athletes. They were former teammates or they played against each other. The stories of them like playing against each other in a national championship and now they're on the same team. Like that was insane. I got to do a mic up with the libero, like Eric, and he just has like the best personality. And it was just really cool. And I can just see men's volleyball evolving and hoping one day we have enough resources to being able to give it the credit it deserves. But it was awesome, and working with USA Volleyball was so easy, and I'm excited to see what we can do in LA together. And then on the other side, I would say I also got to go to where USA Wrestling was practicing. So I think a lot of people think everything is in Paris, but a lot of people are spread out all over and they kind of have their like camp or their workout area, and then they'll take like a train or a bus into like into the city to compete, or they're competing somewhere off site. So even though it's the Paris games, they're all over the place, which is exactly how LA 28 is going to be. Like not everything's going to be in LA. But I got to go to wrestling and I got to actually interview some of the women wrestlers, and it was perfect content to lead into. We just announced our Division 1 women's wrestling championship for 2026. So it was just surreal to like get their story and see how women's wrestling like club opened up doors for them to compete on the Olympic stage, to now like what it would mean to actually have a sanctioned sport. And I got to be on the back end and just like see how we develop and create the 91st championship at the NCAA. So that was like a really cool, like full circle moment, and got to drop that content like a couple months after the games, which was really cool.
Oh my God, Jaelyn, that's so cool. I have goosebumps. That's like literally like it's like history. I didn't even know that women's wrestling was a thing.
Yeah, insane.
That's that's really cool. That is awesome.
Yeah.
Working for the NCAA and social media, I mean, that's a major dream for a lot of people. So I'd love if you could share a little insight into how you got there. Yeah, let's start there. How did you land this role and opportunity?
Oh my gosh. Well, I will say every day when I go into the office, I still kind of have the pinch me moment of like, oh my gosh, I'm here. It's still very surreal to me, but I definitely feel way more confident going into year 3 at the NCAA. But my journey was not a straight path. I feel like a lot of people say that, but I still kept sport at the center. So I was a GA at Augustana. I got my master's degree, but that was even a tough decision for me back then. Like I was full time at Northern Lights. I was doing their social media. I was coaching. I didn't really have any plans to want to go back to school. But Jen Jacobs, who was my former positional coach at Augsburg, she was the head coach at Augustana, and she recruited me twice. And she's someone you can't say no to. So
Yeah.
I definitely moved out to South Dakota, got my master's, and I think that is what really opened up like, I think social media is like for sure the calling I want, but I needed to be in a space that could push me. And I was like one of one at Northern Lights, which isn't a bad thing. Like I got to learn website graphics, like coaching, social marketing plans, like all of that was great. But I still wanted someone to like learn from. Like I was very hungry for that. So went back to school for about a year and a half, and that's kind of how I got connected with some folks at the NCAA. And honestly, I did kind of like a cold outreach. It was just like, hey, I would love to connect. I'm writing my final thesis on how Division 2 social media is being used by current student athletes. And I connected with the D2 social team to just kind of talk about that, shared my final thesis with them. And then through that, I got connected with, which is now my current boss, Chris Dion. And he was like, hey, the wrestling championship is actually going to be in Minnesota in 2020. Like, do you want to come and do content for us? And I'm like, yeah. He's like, you can run the Instagram. I was like, oh my gosh, mate, like I'm so ready for this. Did I know anything about wrestling? Absolutely not. But I connected with our wrestling coach at Augustana, and I was like learning all the terms, so I didn't sound like a fool on social media. But after I graduated, COVID happened, and the wrestling championship got canceled that year. So I didn't get to do it, but I was on all of like the pre-planning calls and got to meet people and like just got my name in the hat, and I didn't get to work with them, but my name was in the hat. And like most people, like when I graduated in January of 2020, I moved back home because I felt like I had more opportunities to make money. My loans were kicking back in. I had bills that were coming. I was like, I need to make some actual money. So moved back to Minnesota, but there was like all the sport jobs were on pause. So I was like,
Right.
gosh, what do I do? And that was when I was just hustling and everyone was coaching beach volleyball at the time because you could be outside. And so there was some of that distance. So I was coaching beach. I was working at Athleta, which is also hysterical. Like I love Athleta. And then I was
I
still
went to visit you there a few times. Athleta.
you
Yeah.
you visited me, Nate visited me, like Athleta is the best. And I was like, gosh, like I was really in a rut, like where do I go? And so then I started freelancing a ton and I landed a job with Midco Cable Company and they like live covered all the Summit League games. So I could do it remotely. But I'll be very honest, when I submitted my I did an interview with them. They were like, oh my gosh, we love you. Like we would offer you a full-time job if we could. We just need you to do a project and send it back to me. I'm like, oh my gosh, easy, easy. I did the project and I actually messed up huge. Like I wanted to do like a draft tweet. And so I had like a tweet mock up and I was like, oh my gosh, it's going to be so cute. It's going to look exactly what it would look like on Twitter and Instagram. And I totally spelled the dude's name wrong, like in a tweet copy, which is like the ultimate like red flag when you work in social media. And I think at the time, like I owned the mistake, but I was doing so much with my life. Like I was just running from job to job to job and I didn't give it my full attention. But in that moment, like they still offered me the job, but I was on an extra approval like with them. So every time I had to cover a game, their head full-time person had to approve all my stuff before it could go out. And then finally I got off the approval because I like showed up and I like showed them that I could do it and then ultimately became one of their best freelancers and trained the other freelancers. But like that moment was like pivotal for me just as like early in my career and just knowing like how important details are and like when you turn something in and like I was just grateful they gave me a second chance, but I was also very embarrassed and also motivated to prove them wrong. um but anyways, yeah, a little side tangent, but that was huge and being able to keep sport near to me was like super important. But I also, my feedback through interviews was like, hey, you need more experience. You need more experience.
Right.
And I'm like, I don't even know where to get the experience. Like, I have my master's, like, I haven't worked at like a legitimate place or I had like tangible like accomplishments yet. So I actually got out of sports for a year because I was turning 26. I needed insurance, like
Yeah.
all the adult things that happen. And I worked at a mental health nonprofit called Nexus Family Healing. And I was still freelancing in sport though on the side and coaching. But that job, like I tell everyone, like that job set me up for the NCAA period. Like working with the CEO, building out content plans, like Facebook ads, like understanding how to pull analytics and like build a larger campaign that touches literally all of our markets. And I just learned so much from my boss, Katie, who was there. And I was there for a year, which doesn't seem like a long time, but I was able to do a lot for them and change just the way that they go about social media. And I found the assistant job at NCAA and I applied and I just put my resume in the hat. And at the time, I reached out to my former boss and got my resume to the top. I landed a interview. And I know you know this, but like that interview process was the same week my dad passed away. So it was like, again, I was in a chaotic life, but I really like learned from the Midco example of like I need to be present, I need to be focused and like take this interview. And then I landed the gig and a year later got promoted to associate. And now I have an assistant under me and an intern and like an amazing team, an amazing boss. And honestly, I truly love what I get to do. But For me, it was keeping sport at the center, being intentional about making an impact no matter where I was, whether it be Athleta, Midco, Nexus, and keeping my network and connections like open and being very genuine about that.
Yeah, Jaelyn, that's your story's so cool. It's so amazing. And I'm glad you hit on those themes at the end, because I was going to say, like, the things that I was just jotting some notes down while you were talking, but your themes to me were like okay, kind of funny, but because Shift Group is so immersed in the sales space, I'm like, oh, everything's sales. Like, you were cold calling, cold outreach, like selling yourself to people. So, hey, being involved in sales, you're going to have to do it in every aspect of your career. So it's only going to benefit you. So love that. But yeah, that intention behind everything you did is so huge. Like, you are such a hard worker, but it wasn't about sheer output, because you ran into that moment where you had to, like, whoa, okay, I need to maybe take a breath, slow down to speed up in your career. And so it was, I think such a big theme of your journey is showing up with intention, taking the jobs that you knew were going to get you the skills that you needed, but also keeping sport at the center, and keeping that your compass was still set on where you wanted to go.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I do want to ask you, because I know you mentioned that you were going into this job interview the week that your dad passed. And I know that your dad was so important in your life and is still so important in your life. And grief it's a weird thing. So if you're okay with it, I'd love to ask you, just how did you process, and how are you still processing moving through that grief of, losing your father, while, having to keep focused and deal with some of that pressure too? I know it's like, it's so easy to say, like, life doesn't stop, but like, how was that experience for you?
Yeah. I mean, for me, it was like I literally just got like goosebumps, because like my dad would never believe like my job right now. He would think it was like the fact that like my friends saw me on ESPN when I was covering March Madness, like
I was taking pictures of my TV when I saw you up there.
like, and I just remember those moments of like after I finally got home at like 3 a.m, I like went to my own Instagram and I'm like, why do I have so many notifications? But like, in the moment, I don't even think like you're not trying to get on ESPN. You're just trying to get your content and get out. But like I know my dad, it would have like been just head over heels over this job and like couldn't believe it. But I mean, I remember the day my dad passed on a Sunday. I interviewed for this job on a Wednesday, moved out of my childhood home on a Friday, had a celebration of life on a Saturday. Like it was just, I mean, it almost feels like you're just walking through life. Like I don't even know what's happening. But I sat down with my uncle and I was like, hey, I think I should push the interview. And he was like, no, you should take the first slot. Like you should take the first interview that they have available. And he was like, this is your dad telling you. And it's really funny because at the time I was literally moving to Austin, Texas. Like I had an apartment down there. I was just going to be remote at my current job. And my dad, before he passed, like he talked to my brother the week before and was like, Jay's not going to Austin. Like she's not going. And I'm like, why would he say that? Because I literally have an apartment. Like I'm going. So it's, I mean, whatever you believe in, some type of higher power, like it was just crazy to me. Like he knew within his like soul that like I wasn't supposed to be in Austin, and to be able to chase this job and do something, like he introduced me to sport. He was our coach in like little kid T-ball back in the day. Like I knew what sport meant to him. Like I'm named after Jaelyn Rose. My brother's named after Mike. Yes, like it's all these things. Like he loved the Chicago Bulls. Like,
girl, look at the shirt I'm wearing right now.
You go. See?
Like a shirt right now.
It's like those signs. Like to me, like I'm like, oh my god, yeah. Like my dad would have he would have been head over heels for this. I mean, I definitely feel like grief comes and goes. But I swear every championship I actually carry around, he always carried his like little kid photo of him for his 50th anniversary. Or his 50th birthday party, I mean, and in his wallet, which I also thought was hysterical, but now I do the same. And I take pictures of his picture while I'm at championships, because like there's just a moment when that confetti falls and the trophy gets hoisted. That's like, it's a very, like, I don't want to know if it's like a spiritual, but it's just a very intense power. And you're just like, oh my gosh, to be in this moment and like witness history, and like people have worked their whole life for this one moment. Like I can just like feel his presence really strong during those. And like he would be the first person I would call after every championship that I would cover. So like I try to like soak in that moment as much as possible. But yeah, I would say I definitely have more like ups and downs. But for me, I try to find peace in like the little glimpses that I'm like, oh yeah, he's definitely here right now. Or like he would be so proud. So a long answer, but it's definitely like I think losing a family member, like this club is not fun to be a part of. And you just hope that no one else has to go through it. But like if they do, they can lean on you because like you've done it. But like everyone goes through grief differently. So I think that's important. Like even the way I've handled it is different than my brother who went to the exact same situation as me.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that. I'm so glad you shared it because it just seems like you have such an amazing way to continue to honor your dad in everything that you do. And I see your posts on Instagram all the time about him, and I know he's such a huge part of your life. So it's so special to see you be able to continue to live his legacy and impact other people with that same positivity and light. So
I
I
love
just thanks for sharing your
that. Of
story.
course.
Oh, I mean, like, how do I pivot from that? That was amazing. I do have a question that I am curious about, because I want to know your thoughts on this because you see things on like X or social where people kind of like poke fun at the social media people because they're like, "Oh, have the intern do this." You know what I'm talking about? You see
Oh yeah.
comments like that.
Yep.
So I want to know unfiltered thoughts about that. Like if you could say, like maybe they're joking, yeah, haha, but there's still a misconception, I think, about what people in social media careers do. It's a big job. So
Yeah.
what would you say to those people who have those misconceptions about social media? And what do people misunderstand about what you do?
Oh, first off, I'd be like, control block delete. Like, get out of here. Like, why are you in the comments? I
Block
think,
the haters.
yeah, like, put some respect on my name. Like, what are you doing? And in my mind, I'm like totally envisioning someone just like on their couch and like they don't have a job, which like also if you don't have a job, like go get a job or like, hopefully you're looking. But like, um,
10K, what 10K is get your ass up and work.
yeah, like nobody wants to work these days. And I would just like laugh because I'm like, you could never be put in a moment of managing a brand with over 3 million followers and literally the trolls are waiting for you to mess up. Like it's so different being on the other side. But to me, even like what I've evolved through my career, it's never just a tweet. It's never just an Instagram post. Like there's so much thought and intention that goes through every single thing that a brand does. At the NCAA, like the approval process is insane. Like where we are and like working towards like to get something out very timely and hop on a trend, like there are so many approvals that need to happen and like gut checks because little things of does it match the style guide? Does it match our brand? Like what would this how would this look? Are we putting student athletes in a positive light or a negative light? Like we're not going to jump on a trend that's poking fun at a student athlete and then everyone's coming back for us. Um,
Right.
and the other part is like if you only knew what else we were dealing with, like the comment that you probably did, like I'm already on our like 10th post now. Like I'm over
Yeah.
that. So it's just interesting that everyone kind of has that conception of like it's the intern. When most of the time it's not at all. But yeah, I don't know. It's like there's so much that goes into it. It's organization, it's planning, it's brand, it's consistency, it's creative, it's managing a creative team, it's approvals, it's
So
also
strategic.
yeah, and it's also like trying to take a trend and explain that to leadership on how it's going to like basically slap on social, but you have to sell yourself because you're like, no, this is like for real going to go viral. And they're like, what is a TikTok? And you're like, what am I doing?
Yes. So it sounds like even in social, you need to know how to sell. Like that is really big.
Oh, they're like always selling. And like, I think it was funny. There was a report. We just did our yearly analytics, and it was talking about how, like, even from a brand account, every post shouldn't be a call to action for your followers. It shouldn't be sign up, buy this, do this. you have to build a community. And like, I feel like that's really where the NCAA is. Like, we are building a community around our, fan engagements, our championships, but we also have leadership development programs. We have athletic directors, administrators, like we like have programs and we have things that we can give to all of them, but we're constantly not selling. We are telling the story that is ultimately going to drive them back to our website and figure out how they can also be a part of it by signing up for X, Y, and Z. So like there is always a sales pitch, I feel like.
Yeah. And it is so strategic. Like you just explained, like you can't always be like call to action, sign up, click this link, do this. It's like that gives your audience so much fatigue. So it really is about creating that community, because people will just naturally gravitate to communities they feel connected to, and like they're offering some value outside of just like, what can we get from you? What can our bottom line receive from you?
Yes. And like then it makes you sound like a robot. Like if you're just constantly being like, click here, click here.
Exactly. And it's like people want to identify with people now. I think that's like a huge transition we're seeing with communities and branding and online presence. It's like people don't want to buy from a business. They want to buy from a person. They want to buy from a community or something that they feel connected with.
And they feel like, I think that emotional connection is really where we can drive. And like for us, the last 2 years, we actually changed our brand, like tone and voice on social. So when we are channeling the NCAA, we are the proud auntie, because we know the trends, we know the viral moments, but when like rules are changing, we're going to keep it real with you and like tell you what it means. But then we're going to be able to hug you, uplift you, celebrate you, but we can also translate what like legislation means to you.
Yeah. Okay. That's so funny. Do you guys call it that internally, the proud auntie?
Sure do. We're like, would the proud auntie say this? Like when we're working on like captions or even like our social media assets, like we're like, okay, is this like giving cool proud auntie? Like would she want to print this out and like put this, behind her couch in her living room? Like, I don't know.
That's a good lens to look at. Like you actually gave your brand, it's like giving your brand a persona so that you can like filter everything through that lens. And that's so true. Like proud aunties, you're going to respect her because she's scary, but she's going to love you unconditionally. So
yeah, that's a vibe.
That's a good vibe. That's amazing. Yeah. Okay. Amazing. And I want to know in this next chapter of your life, you've been with the NCAA and now you're going on year 3, right?
Yep.
So for this next chapter, if it had a name, what would it be? Or what's your mantra going into this next chapter of your career or life?
This is funny because I literally feel like I just discovered this like 2 weeks ago. But I'm entering my like cool girl era. Like that is what I'm branding this as. And
you're already in your cool girl era.
Already. But I feel like where I sit now and like in my career, like, I always joke like nobody wants to work. Like we need to work. We need to do X, Y, and Z. And social's always on. Like people are never sleeping. But now I feel like, yes, you have those moments early in your career that I still think is crucial, that you should say yes and like work your tail off when you don't have any other obligations. Like when it's just you in your life, like why not say yes to everything, like do as much as you can. But now I'm in like my cool girl era where I have built a system. I have built a team that can function without me. Like everyone has the keys to the Ferrari and go have fun. And everyone should be able to have time off, protect your peace. Like when we are on vacation, like you shouldn't ever have to call me and be like, Jay, I don't know what to do. Like, because we have worked and built a system for people to know exactly what to do when like certain situations happen. And I also was always in this era of I felt like I had to prove myself and be like, anytime I got an email, I needed to respond immediately. Anytime I got a Slack, I needed to respond. Where like sometimes it's okay to take a beat, or now that I'm like more of a leader and managing people, it's more powerful to empower them. Like, you know the answer. Why don't you respond? Like, I don't always have to be the loudest in the room. Like, I think the biggest flex is like having my team already be vocal and confident and know the answer. So that's kind of where I feel like in my cool girl era of being fully staffed, onboarding, created the systems, created the strategy, like here's the tools, here's the keys. Like have fun. Like, I'm here to support you and uplift you and like be the proud auntie back to you. Um, but let's like keep this train rolling and also enjoy your time outside of life. Like, life is short. Spend time with your friends and family. Like, go see the world. Like, your job isn't everything. Everyone's replaceable. But leave a really leave an impact where you're at, because people will miss your vibe and your authentic self and what you bring to the table. But your job shouldn't be everything. And that's that new era I'm trying to enter.
That's such a perfect way to look at it, Jay. Like I wrote while you were talking about that, I wrote down seasons. That was my note. Because it so beautifully reflects like the season of life you're in. Like there was a moment in time where that season of sprinting and hustling and keeping your head down and being on really helped elevate you to where you are now. And so it's like you were all in and intentional in that season, and it got you to where you needed to be now. And now you can be the cool girl. Now you can be no sweat. Now you can be in that season and fully enjoy it. So I always think like from my perspective, that perfectly exemplifies like work-life balance to me, because I think you can't always be 50-50 in my opinion. Like you can't always be work and life are totally even. Like there's going to be those seasons where you need to sprint or you're not going to be able to get to your goals. You're going to have to go all in and kind of push the limit, but then you get to enjoy the season when you reach that goal, when you get to where you need to be. So
absolutely. I love that.
Yeah. Couple more questions, because I know we're getting to the time, which I'm really sad about, because this has been an awesome conversation. But I do want to know, you've been in rooms with some really influential voices in sport and leadership in general. You've spoken at conferences multiple times, Gondola Conference, right? What have you learned about leadership from watching these athletes, coaches, and leaders up close and in action?
Ooh, this is a good one. I would say the biggest thing, like seeing, the top of the top teams like compete, it's not about developing a skill per se anymore. It's managing the people, the team, creating the culture, the buy-in. And ultimately, that's going to make them the best team, because when they're already at this level, they know the skill, they know what they need to do. But I see coaches and even just athletes, like they're so bought in to the grind, the routine, the discipline, because of the culture that the coaches and the team have implemented. Like, I mean, even down to the trainers that are traveling with them, like everyone is bought into the mission, and they have their goal that they're trying to reach. And it's really cool to see like that and how I can bring that even to my team, because it's really important. Like, we talk all the time internally, like everyone wants to be a leader and wants to manage, but it's not for everyone. And that's okay. And I think everyone wants to try that or climb the corporate ladder. But you have to know what you're good at and what you're not. And ultimately, even where I sit, it's about managing the people. Like when I'm having one-on-ones, like I'm starting off with wins all the time. How was your weekend? Like, hey, I knew your mom wasn't doing well. How's your mom doing? Like, those little things are going to create buy-in, and we might not even touch work in a one-on-one, and like that's okay. So I think figuring out how to manage people and build a culture has been like the most important thing that I've learned, just being in these rooms with these like all-stars.
Yeah, I think sports couldn't be a better training ground for that. Like learning how to deal with so many different personalities and get everyone to buy into a common cause. I mean, that is tough. And it's just something I think athletes innately learn, because you're thrown into a mix of people from all different sorts of backgrounds and upbringings and just different environments. And you got to make it work if you want to win.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah. Okay, final question, Jaelyn. This has been so much fun. I'm sad to say last question,
I know.
but just in the, I guess, interest of the title of the show, Changing the Game, Women Leaders Changing the Game out there in their professional careers, what does changing the game mean to you in your career or personal life right now?
Ooh, changing the game for me is like leaving it better than how I found it. And I think that's important in the sense of, even if I would ever leave the role that I'm in, whoever would come in and take it, like I hope I could leave them the playbook that I created that they could then run. But even on a deeper level, it's like going back to, everyone thinks it's an intern posting, like leaving the social space in a better place, that when people come in, like they know this is legit, and building a brand, representing a brand is so important. And I want to be able to pave that way for people to see that you don't just have to be like a content girly, like being in a lead social role, like in managing campaigns, managing creative teams, like, maybe you're running your president's social or like whatever it is. Like, I want to be able to leave a playbook and show that, like, put some respect on the name, like come in here, and like fight for what you deserve to get paid. Like, I also think that's an assumption in the social world that people don't get paid very well. But like prove your value and know that you're more than just like a TikToker. Like, you are a strategist, you know how to build campaigns, report on them. All of these things come connected. So I just hope like changing the game for the next generation of the social peeps coming through.
I'm putting respect on your name, Jaelyn. I mean, I know you are a total badass. I know you are leaving your team better than you found it, leaving the social space better than you found it 100%. So after this, people better be putting respect on your name 100%.
Amen.
Thank you so much, Jaelyn, for joining us. Where should people follow you on social? Should they follow what accounts?
Oh my gosh, anything. You can find me at Jaelyn Arndt. Instagram is Jaelyn.Arndt, and Twitter X is Jaelyn_Arndt. LinkedIn, I'm on there. Please connect. I'd love to hear your guys' story, or just see like maybe we can cross paths in the sports industry.
Amazing. Thanks so much, Jaelyn. This has been so wonderful. Always a blast talking to you. So we'll have to kick it to round 3 at some point in our adventure here on Changing the Game.
I love it. Thanks for having me.
Thanks, Jaelyn.